I don't think I've ever constructed an idea for a movie like this the way I did. I was taking a shower one day and I had a shower thought, and I thought, what could you make the word ass into an acronym? And I came up with Assassin Secret Society. And when I got out of the shower, I told my wife that, and she started cracking up, and she said, "Man, that needs to be the title of the movie." And that kind of jump started the creation of formulating a group of people called the A.S.S. And I thought, what a that it's a comedy, obviously. And I knew coming after Trebus, which was a more earnest movie, that I wanted to do something definitely fun and simple. When I sat down and started trying to figure out who the members were going to be, it was very important that each one is kind of a different flavor to the ensemble. I knew their leader was going to be British for some reason. I just thought British is very proper, and he would come across as commanding and intelligent. And then I wanted to make him the complete opposite of that, just a real moron that makes really bad choices, and his whole origin is stemmed around a horribly dumb idea that I don't think anyone really gives a shit about.
What do you mean it makes no sense? It makes complete sense. Did you not hear my very sound reasoning?
There's a lot of people we meet. They don't, when it comes to things that are going to be very important to them, they don't give it that much thought. Or perhaps they do give it a lot of thought, but it's in shallow water. That is the American cheeseburger. I always want to film my portion of the film first, just to get out of the way so I can concentrate on directing other people. That was the first thing we filmed. It was relatively simple. We did it in front of a green screen. I had an idea of what to do with the character. The hair, a regular looking smart guy I tried to do. Like, he has the nice hair, the glasses, the turtleneck. It's almost like he's a Steve Jobs looking kind of guy. The voice I did, I was actually trying to do my best impersonation of like a very pulled back version of Liquid Snake from Metal Gear Solid.
Did you like my sunglasses?
When I was assembling the team, something came to a surprise to me. And that was including Clark into the group. At the time, I had been rewatching older movies of mine because it was because of Trebus, it was around the time of the 20th anniversary of me making movies. And there's a character that I made, Brian and I created, called Clark. And he was in some of my older films. I always thought, maybe we could have done more with him, but I just let time move on. And then all of a sudden, I was like, this is an opportunity for me to put Clark in this movie. I brought it to Brian. I wasn't sure if he would want to do it, and he was actually 100% okay with it. Having this character in this unique situation brought a new layer to it. We talked about how he is the worst person to be an assassin. I don't even know how he got into that. Filming Brian was a lot of fun. It's probably the most fun I've had making a movie in a while. I was cracking up so much. Brian knows this character, and he'll give you so many takes. We pretty much kept the same look for Clark that he had in the previous movies the last time we saw him. The only difference is Brian's rocking a wig now, because he doesn't have that same hairstyle he had when we were younger, but we still have that iconic swoosh that he had in the previous ones. And he's kind of just Clark for the modern age. We also had a bigger scene that was shot right outside my house, my front door, and it involved the character Connor. Connor, of course, is played by my wife, who did a fantastic job. For a while, I was like, who's going to play Connor? And then I thought, oh my god, wouldn't it be funny if Becca, if she's okay with this, we dress her up to look like a man. We give her like a fake mustache, and then I'll dub her voice just to like make it sound so stupid. Just, it's clearly dubbed. No thank you. A.S.S was created from an inside joke. We had made a HBO account, and you can add multiple profiles to it. I was trying to think of a name that, if you glance at it, it looks kind of silly. So I was trying to think of like what would look like anal sex, and I invented this pseudo French name called, A.S.S. So when I was developing the characters from the movie, I knew I wanted a woman in the team. I try to have as many women as I can, and I'm limited by actors. But I knew this was going to be my sister's role, and I just gave her that name. And then I kind of created a backstory. I'm like, well, I want her to be Russian, because I wanted a different flavor of internationality. We have people from all around the world in this movie. Thankfully my sister agreed, and she did a fantastic Russian accent.
Of course I did, and it is excruciating.
Filming Lena was a blast. We originally I was going to film her at my house in front of a green screen. When I wrote the film, and when I was filming everything, that was the intention. Subsequently, my sister and her husband had moved out and had gotten an apartment, and I went to go visit them, in between days we were filming, and I saw their apartment, and I saw their computer setup, and I thought, man, their computer setup is essentially what I wanted to do for the green screen background. And I said, you know what, can we just film it at your house? I'll bring my equipment, we'll set up. I think it's gonna look better. And it did go really good, and she was just great. My sister kind of knocks it out every time.
Stop speaking your nonsense, Tool.
Of course, mistress. Tool was not in the original script. I really wanted her to have someone to play off of, because I felt like she's so in command and in control, aside from her silly name, and to have someone else there that kind of like not undermines her, but is like a sprinkle of truth in a way. I think that's Tool's a metaphor for that. And so when I wrote it, I thought it would be so like immediately I knew it was going to be Henry, my sister's husband, because I'm like, this would be so cute having them together in this role. I know they would bounce off each other very well, and it just brings that whole section of the movie together so well. The French Assassin with a bad comb over, pretty much the second I started making this movie, I knew he was going to be in it. He was invented as a joke in high school between Brian and I, and as the years went on, it was decided this should be a movie with this character. So bringing him back was pretty simple. I actually decided to make him the anchor in the movie. It just made sense to do it that way because this character is already established. So presumably, if you've seen The French Assassin with a bad comb over, this kind of extends that story a bit, because you're like, oh, this is who he works for. Filming Brian was great. It was a separate day. We had wrapped up his Clark stuff, so French Assassin was his second day and his final day. I was a little worried that it would be a little rusty, but Brian just immediately went in. He remembered that character. It had been 5 years since we had filmed that film, and it was pre-pandemic when we filmed that, and he just got into it. No. And then, of course, we have that flashback sequence, which is kind of like the moment for the French Assassin. And I wanted to take a moment to kind of take a peek into his past. But I just thought it would be fantastic to go back and to show like a friend of his, a fellow French assassin, and just, where he came from in this whole sequence. Young Man was inspired by a character called The End from Metal Gear Solid 3. For this character, for Young Man, I decided to, he's constantly sleeping throughout the whole movie. He is over 100 years old. I don't know if he still assassinates or if he's there as a token member. But whenever he wakes up, he just tells a story. And I decided that since he's older, he might have some of the facts mixed up. So it's like that he's always telling the same story, more or less, every time, but it's slightly different. And so we'd show this same person get killed, wearing all these different outfits and doing all this. I played Young Man. I bought a mask for it. It was one of those like really kind of hyper realistic silicone masks. And I can't say it was difficult to play him. It was just sleeping, and the voice was something I came up with, which I thought was really fun. I wish I could have done more of that voice, but given the character, it was kind of like this one explosion. So I did want it to be memorable, since he hardly speaks in the whole movie.
It was back in 1994!
In the flashback sequences, of course, I did play the person that gets killed. I decided to make my wife be Young Man in those sequences, just because I couldn't do it, really. And she'd be covered head to toe, and you wouldn't, know what they look like underneath. And she did a great job. Old Boy came about when I was trying to discover how my son was going to factor into the movie. When I made my first movie with my son, he turned to me and he said, Daddy, I want to be in every single movie you do. That is always like a really fun challenge of like, how does he factor into this movie? Sometimes I know immediately, sometimes I figure it out in editing, sometimes, in writing I figure it out. It's a whole thing. Here, I thought it would be so funny if we have a super old man as an assassin. What if we had, like, a 7-year-old or an 8-year-old as an assassin? The name Old Boy actually is also inspired by Metal Gear Solid. It was an unused concept for the second game. Filming Jack for the movie was great. We filmed him in his bedroom. The script called for a kid's room, and he is a kid, and he has a room. So we filmed him in his room in like a little corner, and we had like this whole setup for him with a table and some toys and stuff. And it was actually one of the easiest days of filming because I just filmed him playing with toys for B-roll. And then, I was looking through the script while he was doing all this, and I would tell him, okay, say this line, and he would just say it. And then, of course, my wife has a part where she comes out and she plays the mom of Old Boy. My wife knocked it out of the ballpark.
Oh, I just love that nickname you made for Hayden. It's so cute. I'm Old Boy, not Hayden.
For the mid-credit sequence, I knew that was going to be a really cool portion of the movie. The way we shot that was so beautiful, and the way everything came together, how Jack acted, how Becca did, just everything. It became one of my favorite parts of the movie, and I think Jack really had a blast filming that. That I know is his favorite sequence in the movie, and I'm fairly certain it's his favorite thing he's ever shot with me.
Cookies detected.
So at the end of the day, once everything was shot and we started putting everything together, it really, all the performances, everything that my friends and family gave me for this film, and myself, it did combine together, pretty much exactly how I'd imagined in my head. I say pretty much because honestly some of it exceeded what I had thought in my head. I don't think this is the last we'll see of assassins in my movies. We might get to see some of these characters or one of them or something like that in the future. I feel like there's more we could do with these people. And we'll find out, and hopefully it'll be something fun.
Oh, I need to kill someone.